Something just happened in the motorcycle world, and Harley doesn't want you to know about it. Honda's 2026 reveal is spreading like wildfire, and it's about to rewrite what riders think power, price, and pride really mean. If you ride American, this hits home. Because the move Honda just made could cost you thousands, or make you rethink what's parked in your garage next year. Watch till the end, because what's coming next is the reason every Harley rider should be paying attention right now. The silent grenade. Honda just built the motorcycle Harley promised and never delivered. The world's largest manufacturer quietly dropped its announcement for the 2026 WN7 Electric, and it landed like a grenade in the middle of Harley's empire. For years, Milwaukee teased the future of riding, and riders waited. Now that future has a Japanese badge on its tank. If you've spent your life on a V-twin, this one hits deep. We bought into the dream. Power, sound, chrome, pride. But Honda just gave the market a reason to question whether loyalty still pays. This isn't a rumor or a prototype in a glass box. It's a production-ready machine backed by decades of engineering discipline and the kind of affordability Harley hasn't seen in a generation. The betrayal isn't just mechanical, it's emotional. Honda didn't copy Harley's soul, they replaced it with something sharper, cleaner, and quieter. The WN7's electric drive spits out instant torque the moment you twist the throttle. No warm-up, no rattle, just silent pull. It's the kind of acceleration that makes the loudest pipes in town feel slow. And here's the kicker, it looks good. Instead of the bulbous futurism that scared riders away from early electrics, Honda went with clean, confident lines, a Street Fighter stance that says, ready, not recycled. Riders who laughed at silent bikes are starting to wonder how it feels to leave traffic behind without waking the neighbors. Stick around because the shockwaves from this launch are only beginning. Harley might still be the loudest name in the game, but tonight, the sound you hear isn't thunder. It's silence moving faster. But silence, as every rider knows, hides a deeper power, one that threatens Harley's very identity. Torque versus thunder. Harley sold us noise, Honda's selling pull. That's the battle line now. For decades, we equated sound with strength. The louder the pipes, the tougher the ride. It was identity, a badge of rebellion that rattled storefronts and turned heads. But the WN7 just proved something heretical. Torque doesn't need volume. Imagine rolling on the throttle and feeling full power before the first second ticks. No clutch slip, no rev build, no exhaust drama. It's pure, immediate force. The first time a Harley loyalist tries it, they won't know whether to laugh or curse. Because this is what the future feels like when the engineers design for sensation, not tradition. To the average rider, the shift is confusing. Our culture was built around rhythm, the heartbeat of pistons firing, the syncopation of gears catching, the ritual of the startup rumble. Honda's WN7 breaks that rhythm, replacing it with seamless momentum. It doesn't growl, it glides. But when you feel that electric surge kick in, you realize the old definition of power might be outdated. Still, identity dies hard. Many riders will swear nothing beats the roar of an American twin echoing off canyon walls. But the next generation? They're growing up in cities where silence is luxury and torque is technology. Honda didn't just design an engine, they designed relevance. If Harley's sound was rebellion, Honda's silence is control. One screams, the other dominates. And as younger riders swap decibels for efficiency, the thunder we worshipped may start sounding like yesterday. Yet power is only half the fight. The other half, the one Harley can't dodge, comes down to money. If you've ever felt that shift between pride and frustration every time you start your bike, hit like. Tell us where you stand, chrome and thunder, or quiet and clean. Your voice builds this conversation, not corporations. Drop your thoughts below, because real riders shape what comes next, not press releases. The price gut punch, same performance, half the payment. That's the truth no press release can spin. For years, Harley priced its machines like status symbols, while riders stretched their budgets thin for that badge of belonging. Now Honda just undercut that ritual with a reality check. The early numbers point to a WN7 base cost hovering around $15,000, nearly $20,000 less than a comparable Harley Livewire. That's not competition, that's financial humiliation. Riders who've been told premium means heritage are doing the math and realizing heritage doesn't pay the bills. Let's be honest, most of us ride because it feels right, not because it's practical. But when the same rush costs half as much, practicality suddenly looks like freedom. For new riders, the decision is obvious. For veterans, it's painful. Harley used to own the dream. Now Honda owns the deal. And it's not just sticker price. Maintenance, charging, and parts are cheaper too. Electric motors don't need oil changes or timing checks. Honda's dealer network is already primed for volume. What took Harley decades to build an image, Honda can replicate in months with accessibility. This isn't about which bike sounds better. It's about which one most riders can actually afford to ride. The garage math is brutal, and Harley knows it. The company's profits depend on loyalty stronger than logic, but wallets are louder than words. How long before that math turns against Milwaukee? Not long. Because once the road becomes equal, brand mystique fades and torque wins. Backed into a corner, Harley's next move wasn't innovation, it was illusion. If the math matters, so does your gear. Affordable helmets, gloves, and add-ons. Link in the description. On we go. The smoke and the spotlight. They lit fireworks to hide the silence. The moment Honda's announcement went live, Harley switched to stagecraft. New paint jobs, flashy merch drops, vague teasers about performance evolution. Anything to keep eyes on the brand and away from the storm. But riders can smell panic like burning clutch plates. Harley's marketing machine rolled into overdrive, pushing nostalgia harder than ever. The message was clear: we're still the soul of the open road. But when a company has to remind you who they are, they're already losing who they were. Behind the slogans and the chrome filters lies a simple truth. Harley's thunder feels rehearsed, while Honda's silence feels earned. Riders aren't blind. They see the sponsorships, the racing spectacles, the attempts to paint every new model as revolutionary. But none of that changes the fact that Honda now delivers what Harley only promised: modern engineering that respects the rider more than the brand. Still, Harley isn't dead. Pride runs deep. In garages and clubs across the country, old loyalists are doubling down, polishing chrome, defending heritage. But even some of them admit the Livewire didn't live up to the hype. Too expensive, too rare, too corporate. The WN7 feels like what Harley could have built if it had listened to riders instead of shareholders. The irony is painful. For decades, Honda chased Harley's charisma. Now Harley is chasing Honda's credibility. The crown didn't fall. It drifted silently across the road and landed in Tokyo's hands. And if Harley doesn't wake up soon, the roar that once defined rebellion might fade into background noise, drowned out by the hum of progress. But Honda isn't stopping here. Their next move won't just threaten Harley's present, it'll steal their future. The new first ride. $4,000 buys the next generation. That is the price of Honda's CB125 Hornet, a bike that just slammed open the door Harley forgot existed. For decades, Harley built machines for the dreamers, the ones with savings, patience, and a sense of nostalgia. Honda built one for everyone else. The CB125 is small, light, and simple, but it is also the seed of a revolution. If your kid learns on a Honda, they never learn Harley. That is the brutal truth. The Hornet is the first taste of freedom for new riders across cities, campuses, and neighborhoods. Its low weight and forgiving handling make it easy to master, and the price makes it impossible to ignore. Every young rider who climbs on this machine grows up associating Honda with accessibility and confidence, while Harley becomes something their parents talk about over beers. What Honda has done here is more than sell a bike. They have built a bridge that carries a generation from bicycles to motorbikes, from curiosity to lifestyle. It is a pipeline Harley no longer owns. For years, Harley's cheapest models still felt out of reach. The CB125 doesn't ask for a down payment, it asks for curiosity. Honda knows what it is doing. They are not chasing Harley's crowd. they are breeding their own. 10 years from now, the roads will be filled with riders who never had to prove their worth through noise or weight. They will have learned freedom through finesse, and Honda will have been the brand that gave it to them first. But Honda didn't stop with the first bike. They built an entire path that leads straight to the electric future. The silent graduation. Honda's teaching new riders to charge, not choke a clutch. That is how quietly they are shaping the future. The company's strategy is not a collection of random models. It is a staircase, each step designed to carry a rider from the CB125 Hornet to the WN7 electric flagship. It starts with affordability, moves through reliability, and ends with inevitability. Every Hornet sold is an invitation. Learn balance, learn throttle, learn trust, and when you are ready, step up to electric. No culture shock, no intimidation. Honda's lineup flows like a playlist. Each model prepares you for the next. By the time those riders reach the WN7, electric is not foreign, it is familiar. Meanwhile, Harley still sells culture the old-fashioned way. Heavy, loud, expensive. The gap is not about technology anymore. It is about education. Honda is training a generation to expect silence as a feature, not a flaw. Every throttle twist rewires expectations. Every quiet commute normalizes the hum over the roar. That is how revolutions happen, not with one shocking product, but through patient evolution. Harley thought time was on its side. It is not. Every year, Honda keeps that progression smooth. Harley's world gets smaller. The same way smartphones erased landlines, Honda's learner-to-electric pathway is erasing the gap between curiosity and commitment. By the time Harley launches its next electric attempt, the audience will already be fluent in a language it never learned to speak. And while Honda rewrites the rulebook, another force is helping them. Cities that no longer want the sound of yesterday. The cities close in. Governments just took our roads. One city after another is rolling out zero-emission zones, noise restrictions, and congestion taxes that make old-school cruisers feel like relics overnight. London, Paris, and New York are already leading the charge, and others are following fast. For riders who grew up believing the highway was the last free space, this feels like betrayal. Harley built its legacy on open roads and big sounds, but in the cities where the next generation lives, those same traits are becoming liabilities. Honda saw it coming. They designed their lineup not for nostalgia, but for compliance. Light frames, quiet motors, and plug-in convenience. They built for the rules of tomorrow while Harley was still polishing chrome. This shift is not just policy, it is psychology. When every city begins rewarding silence and punishing noise, identity starts to flip. What once felt rebellious now feels restricted. What once felt strong now feels stubborn. Younger riders are not fighting the change, they are adapting to it. Honda gives them tools, Harley gives them memories. And as urban riders multiply, those old icons of open road freedom start to look out of place between electric buses and charging stations. Harley's machines were designed for highways. Honda's new ones are designed for everywhere else. The new rebellion is practicality, and the riders who live in apartments, who commute through crowded streets, who plug in their devices every night, they are not asking for nostalgia. They are asking for something that fits. But practicality has a price. The cost of faith. Loyalty used to mean something. Now it is a luxury. Harley riders once wore devotion like armor, proud to spend more because they believed in the badge. But as costs climb and wages stall, that pride is turning into pressure. When a bike payment competes with rent, loyalty becomes a privilege only a few can afford. Harley used to promise that premium meant permanence, but the math says otherwise. Maintenance, insurance, and parts add up faster than ever. Meanwhile, Honda is out here selling value with a straight face. Their bikes may not boast lineage, but they deliver reliability without the guilt tax. Riders are waking up to the reality that identity should not cost a fortune. This is the quiet crisis Harley refuses to name. The company still markets itself as a lifestyle, but that lifestyle now carries interest rates. It is hard to feel free when you are locked into payments for a decade. Honda's message is simpler. Ride more, spend less, worry never. The promise that once defined Harley's soul, freedom, is now being sold by its oldest rival. Disillusionment spreads fast. In garages, forums, and late-night conversations, riders whisper what they never said aloud. Maybe the brand they loved forgot how to love them back. Honda did not steal Harley's heart overnight. It just reminded riders what respect feels like. The balance has shifted. Faith used to be unbreakable. Now it is negotiable. And when loyalty starts needing a discount, the culture itself begins to crack. But Harley's troubles are only half the story, because the real storm is gathering inside the industry itself. The flanking maneuver. The whole Japanese squad just flanked Harley. It happened faster than anyone expected. Yamaha and Kawasaki, once content to play in their own corners of the market, have now joined Honda in the electric fight. Three giants, united by progress, lined up against one brand still trying to sell the past. For years, Harley claimed its real competitors were history and imitation. That illusion is gone. Now it is surrounded by precision, efficiency, and affordability, and there is nowhere left to hide. When Honda launched the WN7, it was a statement. But when Yamaha and Kawasaki announced their own electric platforms within the same 12 months, it became a movement. These brands are not chasing the same customer, they are chasing the same future. Modular batteries, shared platforms, and global charging alliances are turning Japan's motorcycle industry into a coordinated assault. And Harley, with its aging lineup and heavy costs, looks more like a bunker than a brand. Riders feel the shift. It's cultural, not just mechanical. Yamaha's electric Street Fighter and Kawasaki's dual-purpose EV redefine performance while Harley debates tradition. Rivals moved like a storm, building factories and launching prototypes. By the time Harley acts, the race is over. The roar paused too long, and progress never waits. And as these rivals rise, the people who feel the blow first are not in boardrooms, they are in showrooms. The dealership drought. Your hometown dealer cannot sell what people do not want. That is the cruel math now haunting the showroom floor. The same stores that once thrived on chrome, leather, and loyalty are watching traffic dry up. Customers walk in, look around, and walk out whispering about the new Honda or that quiet Kawasaki. For local Harley dealers, it feels like the air has been sucked out of the room. Dealerships are the heart of Harley's identity. They are not just sales outlets, they are community hubs, the place where riders swap stories, buy gear, and plan rides. But when sales stall, the community stalls too. New bikes sit unsold. Used ones lose value. Financing gets tighter. The trickle-down pain hits mechanics, clerks, and small-town economies built around the rumble of the brand. Honda and Yamaha flood showrooms with affordable machines, while Harley dealers watch dust gather on chrome. Pride battles survival as some secretly sell other brands just to endure. Hope does not pay rent. The truth is brutal. Harley's issue is not technology but traffic, and empty floors echo louder than engines. But the slowdown in sales is only one symptom. The real sickness begins deeper, in the factories that built those dreams. The factory equation. For every electric battery built, another wrench job disappears. That is the hidden cost of progress. The quiet layoffs buried under words like streamlining and modernization. Inside Harley's factories, fear hums louder than any engine. Automation is replacing muscle. Robots weld, paint, and assemble faster than any veteran mechanic could. What once took hundreds of hands now takes dozens. Electric production makes it worse. Fewer moving parts mean fewer jobs. No transmissions to tune, no exhausts to mount, no carburetors to calibrate. Harley's new reality is efficiency without employment. Every battery pack that rolls off a line in Asia replaces hours of skilled labor in America. Workers who once crafted metal with pride now watch machines do it in silence. This is more than Harley's struggle. It is an industrial reckoning. Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki thrive on automation and battery deals Harley never secured. Efficiency now means layoffs. Progress demands sacrifice, and every innovation erases another paycheck. For the workers who built the dream, modern success feels like betrayal in steel. And that betrayal spreads beyond the assembly line, straight into the lives of the people who gave Harley its soul. The human cost, they called it efficiency. We call it layoffs. Across towns once powered by Harley's heartbeat, workers are packing up toolboxes and waiting for callbacks that will never come. The corporate statements say it is part of adaptation, but everyone knows what it really is: the end of an era. For generations, building motorcycles was more than a job. It was pride. It was passing down skill, knowledge, and identity. Now that pride is being replaced by pink slips and retraining seminars, Harley's management insists these workers can shift to new technology roles. But the reality is colder. A 45-year-old welder cannot just become a robotics programmer overnight. The gap between skill and opportunity is wide, and it is swallowing people whole. Across Asia, factories boom while the Midwest goes quiet. Decades of skill are replaced by circuits, pride traded for efficiency. For those who forged Harley's steel, reskill feels like erasure. Anger grows as unions stir, strikes loom, and Wall Street celebrates savings paid for with the loyalty of forgotten hands. Next, Wall Street makes it worse. The suits finally feel it. The suits finally feel what the shops felt. For years, investors praised Harley as a symbol of stability, heritage wrapped in horsepower. But the stock market has no patience for nostalgia. When news of the Japanese electric onslaught broke, Harley's shares fell faster than anyone expected. Within a single trading week, they dropped nearly 15%. To Wall Street, it looked like panic. To the riders, it looked like justice. This was the moment of vindication for the working class that kept warning the brand. Mechanics, dealers, and riders had seen the storm coming long before the analysts did. They knew that loyalty was shrinking, and new riders were drifting toward Honda's smoother, cheaper models. But no one upstairs listened. Now the same executives who ignored the garage are watching the charts turn red. The irony burns bright. Harley chased margins, not miles, raising prices until its own riders walked away. That betrayal now echoes through every falling share. Loyalty was never stock to trade. It was trust forged on the road. And when trust dies, profits vanish, leaving only silence where faith once roared. But while Wall Street counts its losses, Washington is writing checks that change the battlefield even more. If this hit a nerve, it means you still care about where the road leads. Subscribe now, because the next story goes even deeper. The factory moves, the money trails, and the riders fighting back. Don't just watch history happen. Ride with us while it's being rewritten, one truth at a time. The taxpayers' trade-in. Our tax money just funded our replacement. That is the bitter truth behind the new wave of government subsidies flooding the electric vehicle market. What began as incentives for cleaner transport has become a global arms race of corporate favoritism, and somehow, Harley is always a step behind. In Japan, the government backed Honda's entire electric rollout with green manufacturing credits and infrastructure grants. In Europe, new regulations favor low-emission imports over gas-powered classics. Even in America, the electric rebate system leans toward mass production efficiency, the very advantage Honda and Yamaha already mastered. Harley, with fewer models and higher prices, simply cannot compete on paper. For riders, it feels like betrayal wrapped in bureaucracy. Tax dollars funding the machines replacing their own. Politicians call it progress. Riders call it punishment. Every credit rewards speed, not legacy. The message is brutal yet clear. Adapt or disappear, as Harley's roar fades beneath the government's quiet electric agenda. Yet even as politics pick sides, riders themselves are starting to see something the companies and governments missed, a practical reason to hope. The math of the road. Charging a Honda costs less than beer money. That one sentence explains why electric motorcycles are winning hearts faster than any marketing campaign ever could. When gas prices swing and oil changes add up, the math speaks louder than nostalgia. A full charge for Honda's upcoming models averages about $2. $2 for more than 100 miles. Try finding that deal at a gas station. For everyday riders, this is not politics or branding. It is survival. Commuters who once spent hundreds of dollars each month just to get to work are realizing they can save enough in fuel and maintenance to take an extra weekend trip every season. And when you live paycheck to paycheck, that difference is not just convenience, it is freedom. Honda builds for real life, not fantasy. Lightweight, low-upkeep bikes that plug into your wall and skip the pain of fuel and finance. Freedom no longer has to roar, it can whisper. When the ride costs less, hearts open wider. And even Harley loyalists quietly admit the new freedom feels right. But beyond numbers and noise, something deeper is changing. The meaning of riding itself. The new meaning of freedom. The sound changes, but the freedom does not. That is what riders are finally realizing. For decades, freedom meant noise, the echo of pistons, the growl of rebellion, the music of the road. But now, silence carries its own kind of defiance. The new generation of riders is not chasing attention. They are chasing movement. The machine no longer defines the rider. The ride does. This is not the death of culture. It is its evolution. The old guard still gathers in diners and garages, swapping stories about the glory days. The young ones meet at charging stations and coffee shops, comparing range stats instead of exhaust tones. Different tools, same purpose, escape, connection, identity. Harley's problem was never just the engine, it was believing freedom belonged to one sound and one brand. Honda broke that spell by giving riders what they truly needed. Yet the spirit endures. Chrome or carbon, roar or hum, we ride because we can, because the road still belongs to us. The question isn't who wins, it's who adapts first. Because by the time the next announcement drops, the whole market could look different. So tell me, does Harley still have a fighting chance? Or is this the moment they finally fell behind? Let me know in the comments, and if you're ready for the next hit of truth, make sure you're subscribed, because what's coming next makes this look tame.